Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. I am Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends, wives, and especially your boyfriends and your husbands. A very warm welcome to Monday's edition of the DCU Daily. You can follow me on X Twitter at Movies TV Mad. Lots of fun on there. You will have a laugh with me because I don't give a shit. You can also follow me on Instagram and on Threads at Movies TV Mad X. On TikTok, where we have loads of fun, Mad Mickey's World. And finally, Snapchat, BMouth60. So yes, welcome to Monday's edition of the DCU Daily. James Gunn says that Blue Beetle will fit nicely into his DCU. Wait 1 minute, Mr. Gunn. So Henry Cavill's Superman will not fit nicely into your DCU. Ben Affleck's Batman will not fit nicely into your DCU. Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman will not fit nicely into your DCU. Jason Momoa's Aquaman will not fit nicely into your DCU, but he will as Lobo. We're going to talk about Lobo very, very shortly. And so Ray Fisher's Cyborg will not fit nicely into your DCU, but Blue Beetle will. The Blue Beetle canonically from a movie that flopped. But why his plans for Blue Beetle? We've already heard rumours that they want that actor who was in that flop movie, who played Blue Beetle, to voice the character in animation. That's how he's going to fit nicely. He's not going to be in his own movie. He may cameo somewhere along the line, but voicing an animated movie. Fuck you, James Gunn. I have no intention of consuming your shit. I don't have the energy any longer or the oxygen to keep on consuming new Hollywood creative bankruptcy. But I want to talk about Lobo and Jason Momoa because I was never comfortable with Lex Luthor being the main villain in this Superman movie. But of course he was in Superman 78, where it actually worked, by the way, whatever your opinions of that movie and that version of Lex. It worked. But we're in 2025, and Lex Luthor being the main villain in any story is wrong. So what was the motivation? It was extreme left politics, because James Gunn is an alt-left dude. The reason those historical tweets resurfaced because he was triggering the right wing through his alt-left propaganda. And that fancy dress, that problematic fancy, those pictures of that, him dressed up in problematic clothes, by the way. This all resurfaced because of his alt-left propaganda. Superman is full of alt-left propaganda. He hates the straight white male superhero Superman, so as I've said before, he pulled his red trunks down by his ankles, bent him over, and did him dirty because he hates that straight white dude hero. And he ruined it, right? As I say, right-wing YouTube keep on telling us, oh, it's not woke. It absolutely fucking was. I'm not right-wing. I am not a Trump supporter. I am a compassionate, kind person. And a compassionate, kind person isn't a member of the right wing or a Trump supporter. But anyway, so this is what I would have done with James Gunn's Superman. I would have made Lobo the main fucking villain instead of Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor should always play a part in a Superman story, pulling the strings, behind the scenes, but not as the main villain. I and many Superman fans have catalogued this and explained this for many, many fucking years. Lobo would have been a great villain. And you know what? When I heard that Jason Momoa was going to play Lobo, I was excited, even though I knew why they offered Momoa that role, so he wouldn't make a fuss for not being Aquaman anymore. I still don't understand why Jason Momoa can't be Aquaman in the DCU. It's one of the most successful movies, comic book movies in recent fucking history. It made more than Man of Steel. It made more than BVS. It made more than Wonder Woman. It made more than the first Suicide Squad. It made more than any other DCEU movie. Made more than Superman. made more than recent MCU Phase 4 and Phase 5 movies. But this is how stupid they fucking are. And this is why I don't have the energy and oxygen to consume a franchise without a plan. Yes, everyone, James Gunn's DCU doesn't have a plan. He's making it up as he fucking goes along. The Gods and Monsters thing, as I keep on boringly repeating to you, wasn't a plan. It was bullshit. Now we're going to James Gunn's Super Saga instead of Gods and Monsters. Just imagine Lobo being the villain in this Superman movie. Because Lobo isn't really a dark villain. He's not really a villain. He's more like, I wouldn't call him an anti-hero, but he's a low-key villain, right? So imagine it. There's a villain in the movie that Superman and Lobo are both chasing. And Lobo is doing it his violent way, right? And Superman is doing it his way. You could have a lot of fun. As they're going after this same villain, they're fighting, they're competing. Imagine it, right? Imagine Jingle All the Fucking Way. It's a weird kind of idea to have for a Superman movie. You see how Sinbad and Schwarzenegger are competing to go after that present, right? It's funny, but there's some emotion there. This is what you would do. You would have Lobo and Superman going after this same low-key villain, and you can have a lot of fun. You know, they wanted a bright, inspirational Superman. It would have been fun with Lobo and Superman competing for the same villain. It's exactly the kind of aesthetic that Warner Brothers Discovery and James Gunn and Peter Safran wanted. So why didn't they do it? Instead, we had angry white dude Lex Luthor against angry white dude Superman, who's shouting at his more intelligent girlfriend than him, Lois Lane. And I mean, Superman was invented to have super intellect. Go and read the original concept from Jerry Siegel, right? So all he's done here is create two angry white men shouting at each other, because this is the aesthetic of New Hollywood. This is the aesthetic of Mr. James Gunn. When you could have had Jason Momoa versus David fucking Cornsweet, and it would have been a lot of fun. Maybe that's his plan for this follow-up, but I doubt it, because that would be too good to be fucking true. And Jason Momoa, of course, is in Supergirl. Now, of course, Supergirl has to steal everything that Superman has. Crypto is no longer Superman's dog, it's Supergirl's. You know, Supergirl who called her cousin Superman a bitch. And you want me to consume your shit, James Gunn. Maybe you don't. Maybe I'm just one person. Maybe you don't care. But I'm not the only fucking person that feels this way. And you don't have to be a Snyder fan to call out this fucking bullshit. Lobo versus Superman would have been a fun movie. It's not even the script that I wrote for my Superman movie, but it would be a damn good idea, because it would have everything that you needed. But DC fans cannot have anything good. We had Man of Steel, BVS, and the Snyder Cut, and we never saw it finish, because we can't have anything good. We've got Matt Reeves' The Batman franchise, which is under threat from Mr. James Gunn's and his DCU that doesn't have a plan. And my fear for the Batman 2 is that Gunn is going to be heavily involved in giving that director notes. And I think this has been part of the problem. This has been part of the fucking delays. I don't trust James Gunn, and I certainly wouldn't let him loose on a DCU Batman, because the results will be disastrous. This is a James Gunn who thinks the Nolan trilogy is shite, that the Burton movies are shite. I do not believe your Facebook was hacked, Mr. James Gunn. I believe you truly think these things. I believe that you think the only person who knows how DC should be is you. And the evidence isn't good. And what's weird about Mr. James Gunn, he did start off with Nuance. Guardians of the Galaxy has Nuance. Volume 2, the least popular movie out of the three, which is weird to me, has so much nuance. But because it's darker and it's actually trying to tell a story, these modern social media CBM nerds didn't like it. Guardians 3 has plenty of nuance. The Suicide Squad has nuance. Peacemaker at times has nuance. Superman has very little nuance. The only good thing from that movie is when he echoed the crisis in Palestine. He denies that's what it is, but he should take his applause for that. It's the only good thing he actually did. But a Superman movie with Lobo versus Superman would have been fun. Lex Luthor being the villain, and that Lex Luthor, and let's get it clear, Nicholas Hoult is a great actor, but he wasn't given any meat in the sandwich because of James Gunn's extreme political views. You know, Rachel Brosnahan. I mean, we're talking about fucking Mrs. Maisel. Miss Maisel, not Mavel, Miss Maisel. The fantastic Mrs. Maisel is a great show. Even Amy Adams spoke out and said that Rachel is a great actress and will be a great Lois. And despite the script, she was a really good Lois Lane. But Amy Adams was a better Lois Lane because what Goya and Nolan and Snyder did was brilliant. Because when you first meet Amy's Lois, she's very selfish, she's a little bit soulless, she just wants to go for the story, she doesn't care about people's feelings. She's quite happy to expose that Clark's an alien until Clark explains to her, via the tornado flashback, how his father died. Then she starts to grow empathy for Superman. And you can see a great actress doing that. But Rachel Brosnahan wasn't given something so deep and real. And there lies the problem. James Gunn has no intention of giving these actors anything real, anything deep. And this is the problem with New Hollywood. This is the problem with modern entertainment. They are simply so focused with their extreme politics that you're never going to get great entertainment from them. Great character development, great character stories. And this is exactly what Superman lacks. I've just explained to you what would make a great Superman movie. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Do you think that Lobo versus Superman would have been better than Lex Luthor versus Superman? There's another deeper problem which I catalogued a long time ago. Not doing a total reboot, right? Basically deleting all of Snyder's stuff, but keeping his own, the Suicide Squad universe stuff in it, is typical Gunn. It's typical of his ego, and it doesn't work. His Peacemaker 2 isn't really doing well. One of the problems is, as well, that Peacemaker 2 came too soon after Superman. When you're falsifying your trailer views and your box office, you get exposed when you release something so quickly. You should have given people time to breathe. Maybe next year would have been a better plan for Peacemaker 2. But I'm a fan of Peacemaker 1, and I don't think there should be a Peacemaker 2. Peacemaker 1 doesn't really lean into any canon from the DCEU, not really, just a little. But it does its own thing. Well, Peacemaker 2 doesn't do it. It's all about forwarding the DCU narrative. When you go from being a writer-director to a leader of a franchise, there lies the problem. Gunn said it wouldn't feel like homework, but from what I'm hearing, because I'm geo-locked out of Peacemaker 2, that Peacemaker 2 is fucking homework and has very little else to offer the audience. So no wonder not many people have the energy to go and watch Peacemaker 2 after Superman. It's crazy that people are already done with this franchise after 2 projects. Creature Commandos, which is copy and paste typical James Gunn aesthetic, and Superman, which is also copy and paste of James Gunn's narrative aesthetic. So basically, you have got a zombie franchise already. I believe there's a lot of interest in the Snyderverse. I believe there's a lot of interest in reviving the Snyderverse by fans and, most importantly, the studio. Right now, the only thing standing in its way is James Gunn. I expect James Gunn and Peter Safran to very quickly fail upwards and be moved out of DC Studios. Watch This Space and Movies TV Mad will be the first platform to let you know when that happens.